Hey everyone, this is Tanya.
Hey, this is Erin, and welcome to Wicked Psychotherapists.
So today we are going to be talking about another Winona Ryder classic because we're on a Winona Ryder bend. So I don't know if people like this or not. The ones that are tuning in, obviously, if you're listening, you do.
Yeah, thanks for understanding our brain.
Yeah, that's just the way we go. We go 80s, we go classic, we go Winona Cher. Yeah. So Um, today we're going to be talking about the classic Heathers, which is
Yay.
amazing. Love Heathers. If you have not seen this movie and you are not of our generation, that being like the Gen X, slightly like older millennial-esque generation, this may seem a bit, there may be some elements in this that may seem kind of crass or kind of like outdated as they are.
Not PC.
Yeah, very much not. It's a dark like, kind of I think commentary on a lot of things, but it is wonderful. It's got Christian Slater in it, which we both agreed we loved at the time, and he's probably still great now, but we don't really see him too much.
hmm
But lots of mental health goodies tacked in here. So many mental health.
Yeah.
I think issues, things to explore, even possible fan theories. I do want to bring up that one that we were talking about because I
Okay.
think it'd be interesting just to see, because it kind of was like, oh wow, it's just a whole new way to look at it. So anyway, so this movie is came out in what, 89, again in the line of all the
hmm
movies we've been talking about, like Beetlejuice and Mermaids, Edward Scissorhands. And so it was that late 80s kind of point of view, talking about a group of gals named Heather who are in this like high-powered popular clique in high school. And then there's Winona Ryder, who is Veronica. She's a Veronica who is accepted into this group.
hmm
We start to realize there's like a definite hierarchy to each of these Heathers and Veronica. We start to see all these issues coming in, all these things that make Veronica want to kind of say like, oh, I don't really want to be a part of this, but she still kind of does, and all the things that happen in between.
Yeah.
I just have to say, the slang in there is amazing. The like, get crucial, what's your damage?
hmm
Like, the phrasing of like is so 80s, and the clothing is like the big poofy hair. I love that.
Yeah.
That's something that I
And
think I always
everyone
think
wearing
of.
tights with their dresses.
Yes, like multicolored
Yeah.
tights. Oh, that
I
was
used to
that
love
was the
those.
time. Me too. Oh
They're
my
coming
gosh, me
back.
too.
I've seen.
Well, we gotta get some multicolored tights then. I want purple and green. Yeah, so we see this, that in the Heather clique, there's 3 different Heathers. They all happen to be named Heather.
Yeah.
But one who leads, Heather Chandler, she is kind of always chooses to wear red as like her power color, her chosen color when they are playing, what's it called, croquet at the beginning. She's always red, kind of indicating she's the one that's in power, she's the one that sets the rules, that type of thing. We also see the other 2 Heathers. One, Heather McNamara, she's yellow. She's kind of more passive. Doesn't really know what she wants, just kind of listens and seems kind of depressed, and nobody seems to really notice that.
Right.
But kind of just follows along. And then Heather Duke, who's played by Shannon Doherty, which is amazing. Right before 90210, I think, right? Right
I don't
before
know.
the original
Probably. I don't
90210.
remember when 902. I feel like it was.
I think that came out in like the early 90s, so I think it was probably right before.
Yeah.
But she is great in that. She is kind of the Heather that she's seemingly very meek and passive, is dealing with an eating disorder, but she really wants the power
hmm
that Heather Chandler, the red Heather, commands and yields. So we start to see kind of some of the dynamics play out with some of the Heathers and Veronica when Heather Chandler, the red, I'm just going to say the colors.
Yeah,
Red
because I
Heather.
don't. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know their last names, Tanya.
Yeah, it's kind of, for some reason I looked this up before and it kind of stuck in my head, but let's just use the colors because
Yeah,
that's probably
just
what people
Heather.
would
Yeah.
remember. So the red Heather, she invites Veronica to a college party, and she's kind of trying to pressure her into being with her boyfriend's friend, or Heather is trying to pressure Veronica into being with, like, kind of, going and doing stuff sexually with the friend. Veronica's not into it. She drank too much. She kind of can't really like hang at the level that Red Heather wants her to, and so she acts all over her shoes. Veronica does, and Red Heather is just like loving that.
Well, and plus I think her and JD were together by this time too.
Yeah, that's another thing is, yeah, exactly. She had met JD, which is a character he's got a lot of layers to him, which is, Christian Slater, but he comes in like a black trench coat. He kind of quotes things from literature like greetings and salutations from,
Yeah.
what is it, Charlotte's Web.
Yeah, like greetings and salutations and
Yeah, he's kind of got, like, you could tell he's not a dummy, but he's very much kind of antisocial. He's outside of kind of the norms of everything, and Veronica's very attracted to this. Why do you think she's kind of like into that?
well, it's complete opposite of everything that she's been groomed and expected because she's with the popular clique and she's very obviously, I assume her family is very wealthy. So they probably expose her to a certain type of people that they want her to be around, and probably a lot of the upper level jocks and people who are very wealthy. JD doesn't appear to, from the outside, doesn't appear like he's really cares much about the materialistic stuff. So it does seem like his father is doing pretty well with his company, whatever, concrete company or something. He explodes buildings, so I'm not sure what his dad does. But
Maybe just explosives. I don't know if
yeah,
that's a business, but
yeah,
I guess.
but he's a complete different. Like, like when she first sees him in the cafeteria, he's sitting in the corner, kind of just watching and lurking, just watching what are these Heathers doing? Why are they taking these surveys table to table? Which
Oh,
that's
yeah.
so obnoxious too, that they feel like they are just so important that everyone in the cafeteria is going to just stop eating and want to answer their stupid question that they have.
Yeah.
But they kind of want, oh wait, the Heathers are looking at me, they're talking to me. So JD's just watching the whole time. And I think in looking, and she probably is like, oh, he's really different. He's dark and, he's wearing black. He's not wearing a color. He's intriguing. He looks mysterious. So she probably likes, like that complete opposite of what she's been exposed to probably her whole life.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's definitely something that's different, and in the land that she's in, the world that she's in, the Heathers have just kind of that social, I don't know, those social norms have just been dominating for so long that she was like, "Oh, I could deal with some of that," and then they, of course, do some little flirty flirts, and she goes and asks him the lunchtime poll, and he's like, "What's a Heather? What's a
Yeah.
Veronica?" Like, these things are foreign to me,
Yeah.
and she kinda likes that,
Yeah, he's like, oh, what's a Heather? And he's like, are you a Heather? And she's like, no, I'm a Veronica.
Yeah,
And
which is kinda telling. Yeah, she definitely is a Veronica, and he's like, "Alright, I like Veronicas."
hmm
Yeah, but that's very cute. I think they dated in real life too, right? Christian Slater and Winona
I
Ryder.
don't
I
know
think they
because
were dating during that time,
I think that was the same time that
Johnny.
Johnny and her were. Is this the controversy, people? Did her and Johnny end up because of Christian Slater? Are we uncovering it? Are we TMZ? I don't know.
Or has this already been so covered and everyone's like,
Yeah,
"Yeah,
they're like,
that's well
Aaron and
known."
Tanya, that's like 40 years ago.
Yeah. We're like, "Breaking news!" Oh my god, from
Great
1989.
news from 1988.
Oh my god, that is
Our
funny.
Inquirer. We're telling you guys Inquirer gossip right now.
Yeah, it's funny because it says 1988 on Wikipedia, but it says 1989 on different sources too. I don't know what year it came out, so it's around there. But
Yeah.
so maybe were they dating? I don't know.
I don't remember. I remember thinking and wanting them to date in real life, but I don't know.
Yeah, they definitely had good chemistry. Like they were, I mean, for sure in that movie. But yeah, it says they dated briefly in the late 1980s after co-starring in the film Heathers.
Okay.
So their relationship began around 1988 and continued through 1989, about a year or so.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, wait. It said it lasted only for 2 weeks before ending.
So 2 weeks or 2
What?
years? Come on, Inquirer.
We're not sure, because I'm just Googling this, like a pure Google, so it's like AI information that's gathered
Right.
all around. It's
Right.
kind of like when it came out is kinda I'm seeing 1989, 1988. Who knows? But
Yeah.
they dated at some point, right?
Right.
So this was probably before Johnny. Hi, Johnny.
Because that's what we
But
talked about in one of our last episodes, the Johnny Depp.
yeah. We're obviously, like, just kind of a podcast that's following Winona Ryder and, like, Cher.
Maybe our new podcast name is gonna be Winona Cher. I don't Winona.
Winona, Cher, and then, like, whoever else, we just keep adding on to the
then
name.
we'll just start doing movies of people she dated. Oh, that would be
Like,
because I just saw she dated Rob Lowe, Christian Slater.
did she really?
Yeah.
She dated our Rob Lowe?
I
We
know.
love Rob Lowe.
So
We're now an entity. We love him.
Yeah, so it's Matt Damon. So
Oh, really?
yeah,
I
so
didn't
we'll
know
have
about
to
that.
so there's quite a few. We'll have to
Yeah, Winona, we're gonna do a whole profile. Like, this is basically just a dedication, a love letter to you.
Yes, we love
so,
you.
Yeah. And then we, mental health and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
that too.
We're not going to forget that part of it.
The Wicked Winonas. Oh my god, that's
And then Winona Judd.
just change our name, like, whenever we get into obsession.
We become obsessed.
Oh my god, we are ridiculous.
And then the poor people that are listening are probably like, "Oh my god, how do I turn this off?"
Why do these people keep, like, showing up and then being obsessed with random people and talking about stars from the 80s? Because it's all gonna be in the 80s. Like, it's all gonna originate from there.
Well, it's all women.
It's
It's strong women. It's
yeah.
good.
Great actresses. They've left an impression.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, aside from our insanity, so there's definitely a draw between JD and Veronica, as there was in real life, and they start to date, and this kind of conflicts with some of the activities or some of the how Veronica acts, and the Heathers are kind of like, oh, where's Billy the Kid, kind of thing, and they kind of notice that she's kind of spending some time with them, or with him, and there's a little bit, she's introduced to some new elements, right? Because he kind of starts to question, like, why do you have to do these lunchtime polls, or like, why do you do this? And Veronica's kind of like, well, because they're, this is kind of how she does it, and this is kind of how we do things. And he's like, but why? He kind of has her questioning that, even though she's kind of on the verge there herself.
Yeah.
That's why she's attracted.
Yeah, because I think, like, the first question was sometimes about aliens or something else, and it's like, really, again, it just becomes the norm that everyone's like, oh, okay, let me just answer this question because Heather is asking it.
Yeah, you kind of see this established, like, everybody knows that they set the trends, these Heathers, and all their, like, dumb jock boyfriends, right? There's the stereotypical jocks that are in their curtain ram, which we have more to talk about with them later. But they, they're like, they set the standard, and JD is very much like, F the standard kind of thing, like, that's just not for me, and why should you, question it, and anarchy, and this, and he even, like, gives that book to, do you remember he gives the book on, like, anarchy, and he's like, I need your strength to Heather Duke. He's like trying to empower her.
Yeah.
Like, to kind of be like, you become this
you should become the new Heather.
He's like trying to incite chaos. Like,
and then she takes it. She bites into it. We're jumping ahead a few bit, but again,
you've probably already watched this movie, so
spoilers.
Hopefully you've watched
over 30 years ago. Yes.
Yeah, but yeah, and so after a while, there's after the Remington party incident where, Red Heather's basically like, I'm gonna, damage this is gonna, like, ruin your whole reputation. You couldn't hang this. You're gonna go back to, like, playing with, like, your nerdy friends kind of thing. That's where I found you. Veronica kind of says like she's, hey, this is what's going on, and JD's kind of, probably pissed that like, hey, that's my girl, first
Mhm.
off, but like also we can really get her back.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's Veronica is like throughout the whole movie is like angrily writing in her diary, which again, that's a Winona Ryder thing. It seems
Yeah.
like every director is like, let's have Winona write in a diary or
Yeah.
narrate.
She's a good introspective, introverted person that it'll benefit her character. Yeah,
Yes.
and it definitely does.
So we're here for that. But it does seem like she
For
starts
sure.
talking about like that she, I just want, Heather dead. And, she's just writing this. And then JD climbs in the window and then she's raw and upset. And so they start talking about it. It's like, all right, let's make it happen. Let's get her sick. Because they know that she's sick from drinking too much at that party at home.
Yeah.
So then it's like, so then he kind of convinces her to, which is like one of those manipulations things too. Like, is he, like he's very, it's like one of those ethical things with, Veronica. She sees JD pour the, Drano or whatever it is into a mug. And she's like, oh, no, no, we just want to get her sick with orange juice and milk and make her throw up. Wouldn't that be funny?
Yeah. Like she's thinking more kind of like, oh, like something gross or yucky, like to make her just like feel gross and like know that haha, she ingested that.
Right. And he's like, oh, no. And then she accidentally grabs the poison one. He doesn't stop her. But also, she had to have seen it when she opened the lid because it's bright blue. So it's not like orange or whatever color the orange and milk was.
Well, I think it was kind of like, I don't know if she saw that, but like I think she had the sense that JD was kind of not joking.
Yeah.
Like she kind of, and there was a part of her that was like, hey, I kind of deeply want this, but I don't think she wanted that. Like
Yeah.
I don't think she wanted to act it out, but they did. She did hand her the Drano, and this is where that odd fan theory comes in that I never thought, that I thought was kind of interesting. That, and this is not to say this is true. This is just kind of positing like a what if we looked at it from this angle kind of thing, that JD is a figment of Veronica's imagination. And that
Mhm.
like he's kind of the angry part that can act on these things that she actually really kind of wants subconsciously,
Oh,
but maybe can't really
yeah.
fulfill, sort of thing.
Yeah. Very Fight Club vibes there.
Yes. Yes, exactly. And so Heather's like, of course, Red Heather is like, oh, what did you like blow a loogie in there or whatever 80s
Mhm.
term she says, and then she drinks it because of course she's not against a dare, and she just keeps drinking the Drano, which I can't even
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah. Wouldn't it
And then
taste bad? Like the first sip? I don't know.
I think she's just drinking it so fast, like, oh, I'll just get through this, because that's how powerful she needs people to see her, that like,
Right.
oh, she won't back down from anything. And her last words are corn nuts. Like,
Yes.
that's so awful. Corn nuts. I mean, that's just
Yeah, because she doesn't want
kind
to
of just sums up her
swear or whatever.
existence.
Yeah.
It's like all she wants is something, just this basic food of just, it's just like
No,
so
well,
like her shallow
I think
existence.
that's her way of saying like, ah, crap or something like that, like a corn nuts, because that's what she would say. I don't think she wants to eat them because while she,
Oh, I thought corn nuts was like what she ate.
no, she said that whenever she was like, ah, corn nuts, like
Oh,
rats.
really?
Yeah, yeah. I don't think
I
she was.
never even noticed that. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. 'Cause
Oh,
that'd be
that's so funny. So even as she's dying, I mean, not literally funny, but that's so like strange. Like literally as she's dying,
she's
she won't
nuts.
even swear.
Yeah,
She's still a lady.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
It's
what it
still about
was.
her image.
Instead of like,
Yeah.
instead of like throwing an F-bomb or something.
Okay, that's even okay. I didn't even realize that. So that makes sense then. Yeah. So she's like not even, she's still like her image is still to her last dying breath is
Mm-hmm.
still important to her.
Yeah.
So that's, yeah, so that kind of shows the strength of how much image goes into, like, okay, you have to put up a show to be the one in power.
Mm-hmm.
You have to live it. You have to do it even up until you die. And then of course we know that with JD's encouragement and with Green Heather, Shannon Doherty, always wanting to be like Heather,
Mm-hmm.
she starts to kind of move into her spot
Yeah.
because, like Winona said, you cut off one Heather's head, or maybe it was JD that said it.
That sounds more like a JD quote.
Yeah, you cut off one Heather's head, it's going to sprout a new one in its place, and he knows that.
Shannon Doherty Heather ended up going into the locker, red Heather's, and getting in the bow. And then all of a sudden she has the red bow in her hair, and she's transformed into this powerhouse of Heather. Like all of a sudden she's not this meek person anymore. It's like, now I'm going to just, everyone's going to do what I want.
Yeah, there's like, it's the image of like, the red scrunchie represents power, or like, I'm in this position, and so people, like, I'm going to start doing lunchtime polls, I'm going to start to do the same things that kind of kept everyone in their place.
I was going to say in check. Yeah, that's, in place. Yeah, so they know what's up.
Yeah, and so, and there's a whole, like, if you look at the color psychology of that, as we all know, red is like kind of power, and green is kind of envy. And then we have the other Heather who is yellow. She's kind of struggling with depression, and she has this point where she calls up one of their favorite radio stations. It's like a problem-solving hot probs.
Yeah.
So hot probs.
1-800
and 1-800 hot probs. And she kind of says, like, I'm depressed. My parents are divorced. The last guy I, was with killed himself, which is another, kind of set up by JD.
Yeah.
And Heather Duke, the green Heather, is like, laughs at it and like and passes it all around, because she's like, oh, we're gonna make fun of that because that's exposing a vulnerability. That's not cool.
Yeah. Even though your friend is depressed.
Meantime, yeah. And then in the meantime, they're glamorizing Red Heather's suicide. So it's kind of like this opposing force of like, that was cool because she was cool, but Heather Chandler, she's actually, or Heather, the yellow Heather. Sorry, I'm getting them all mixed up. I'm just gonna. Yellow was very, yellow Heather was very much like actually having mental health issues, and then wants to go and kill herself. She does try, and Veronica stops her with the pills in the bathroom.
Yeah, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And they actually have a real.
But that's
moment.
not glamorous.
No, and they actually have a real, a real moment. And and the yearbook committee is like, okay, we're going to make a 2-page spread. We're going to post her suicide note. We're going to do all this, which is so awful. Like if it was in real life, it's like, it is very much glamorizing, and it's making the other kids just be like, okay, well, would I get this much attention? Like there's that song, like that
suicide.
Yes, teenage suicide. Don't do it. By, I can't remember the shirt, but they all have the shirt.
Big fun.
Yeah, because that's the shirt that that one girl is wearing. Martha
Dumpstock.
Yeah. So that's it too. It's like, okay, well, we're gonna play the song again for the 20 millionth time.
Yeah, it's like such a trend, but like then you actually see someone struggling with it, and other, and Martha tries to, she's very much ridiculed. She's bullied for her weight, for how she looks, and she actually is like, I want to, she goes out and tries to kill herself, puts a sign on her, and tries to like belly flop, quote unquote, into traffic, and it gets mocked. That gets mocked. Like these are actual like mental health suicide predictors that maybe it wasn't really fully understood then, but I think it's pretty common sense to say that could, if they tried it, then it could lead to suicide.
Yeah, and also it's not, and poor Martha, like she had a lot of signs too. Like, she was isolated, she was mocked, she was bullied, she was probably depressed. And also you find out one of the Veronicas, yellow Veronica and her, used to be best friends when they're little.
Yeah. Was it green? It was green.
Was it
Heather.
green Heather? Okay, so yeah,
I can't. Shannon Doherty.
Oh, was it? Okay, I was thinking the other one. But yeah, so that's also probably difficult. So then you see one of your old best friends now, a super jerk, and just very popular and mocking you and publicly ridiculing you. So it is probably hard.
Yeah, and it was kind of like Veronica's friend Betty Finn, and how like she kind of is I think Veronica still is like, "Oh, hi," she wants to be friendly with her, and then Red Heather, when she's still alive, is like, "What are you doing? That's like social suicide."
Mm-hmm.
And, you see all these setup of these rules, then you see with JD how he kind of sets up and manipulates Veronica into basically murdering, the Red Heather, and then the two jocks, Duke and Kurt and Ram, and um but you also see that there's a small part of Veronica that kind of knows, and JD
Yeah.
calls her out on that,
Yeah.
that
Like
like,
what? Yeah. Like with the
this is kind of
guys.
what you want.
Yeah, because the guys, like he said that, oh no, they're blanks. It's different than blanks. It's these other type of bullets that,
These German
yeah,
bullets.
these German bullets that, it's like what? That doesn't even make sense. That, they'll be sedated for a little bit. It'll look like they're dead, but they're not really dead. So, and then when she shoots one of them right in the neck, she's like, oh my gosh, I don't think he's waking up. I don't think he's okay. And then he runs down and, kills the other one. And after it's all done, she's like, we really killed them. Or, he's like, yeah, he's like, I think you knew that. So he basically tells her, like, I think you knew that the whole time. You just wanted to believe what you wanted to believe, which a lot of times we do. And their relationship is so toxic. And he's very good at manipulating her and manipulating what the truth is and finding her weaknesses and her vulnerabilities of, oh, well, she's upset at these guys. So how do I, you know, turn her anger into something that I want to do? Because he probably is like, oh, I hate these jocks or I hate these types. This is my seventh school I've been to in a couple of years. I know how everybody is, because he keeps saying that. He's like, I different school, same type of people, same. So he could be acting on his aggression for, there's probably been other people like Heather in different schools, the other type
Oh
of
yeah.
jock. So he's probably, you know, always been ostracized and just like, I want to seek revenge on this.
Yeah, he knows the roles, and he's very much decided, I don't want any part of it. In fact, I want to actually at this point destroy it, and this is
Mm-hmm.
how I'm going to do it. And he's got his own backstory, JD. He's you see the interactions with his dad. It's very odd, as you pointed out, very disconnected. The dad talks in a point of view from like, "Hey, dad, here's my girlfriend." He speaks for him. It's kind of like how they let their needs be known. They have a very bizarre way of communicating.
Mm-hmm.
We learned that his mom, at first it says like accidentally got blown up by one of the dad's explosives in a building, but then he realized she did it intentionally. JD is aware of that, so he's probably pretty messed up from that.
Mm-hmm.
Probably some resentment, some disconnect, major, struggles moving from school to school, and yeah, not feeling like he's accepted, and just
Mm-hmm.
seeing the same roles over and over again and being like, what is the point of this? This is
Yeah.
so stupid.
Yeah.
But it's actually kind of turned him, to a point that we wouldn't call healthy, right? To
Yeah.
deal with it. It's actually kind of I thought of this, the trench coat kind of reminds me of the Columbine.
Yeah.
They wore the trench coats, and that was, about eight years later or so, 90, 97, 98, 99, in late 99,
Yeah.
I think it was. So maybe like a decade later, but kind of that feeling of like the ostracized person, they get so angry and they start to come up with different means of, hey, this is how I'm, some
Mm-hmm.
people just kind of act out in their own way, but some people can be pushed to their limits, and we don't really know what that looks like
Yeah.
for everybody.
Yeah. And what the signs are and why. And, JD, definitely probably had some antisocial, I don't know,
Mhm.
personality. I don't know if it's personality disorder or what was happening, but
Definitely had traits. Yeah.
he definitely had traits. He had the trauma of his mom. He probably knew in his heart that it was his dad's fault. And that's probably why he was very cold and distant. And his dad also probably separated himself from JD because of maybe JD reminded him of his mom. Who knows? And,
Yeah. Lots of layers to
yeah,
that.
there's a lot of layers to JD. And he found Veronica. He probably was like, oh, here's someone. She's pretty. She doesn't really fit into, she's not a Heather, so she doesn't really
Mhm.
fully fit into that group. She's there, but just on a string because her name isn't Heather. So they're just kind of and they keep reminding her too. You weren't always cool and popular because of us, because of me, you are. And he probably
Right.
sees this too.
Yeah. Yeah, the fact that she doesn't dismiss him, like, she wouldn't just be like, "Oh, whatever," like, she actually kind of engages, like, she's intrigued by him, and he
Mhm.
knows that. He's very manipulative, he can pick up on that very quickly, he's a smart person,
Yeah.
and I would say he's also kinda sociopathic too.
Yeah.
He seems to not really care that he's killing these people,
No.
and he even makes some, like, crass remark of, like, "Do you think, you know, the star of the football team, do you think he'd rather have him be, alive?" And he says some really, really like, basically indicating he's gay, a gay son or, like, a dead hero kinda thing, like, he's probably better off dead, which is, of course, is awful, because JD does set up that murder with the bullets and everything, and then he ends up leaving notes to make it appear as if the 2 jocks were actually, in a gay relationship and were gay and just couldn't
Mhm.
come out, and they couldn't realize it. Again, this other kind of, like, romanticizing suicide almost, like, it kinda gets announced as like, "Oh, they killed in a dead gay suicide pact,"
Yeah.
or like a gay suicide
Yeah.
pact. It's just so
Yeah,
packaged
and they even do
and,
the
like,
funerals together, and then the priest is the I can't remember his name, but the guy from Beetlejuice, like the yes, and it's just very dramatic too. It's like, all right, so we're gonna do it together, and like with their little footballs in their caskets too. It's very
and the dads,
yeah, I love my big gay son.
"Oh, my dead gay son."
Yeah,
It's not funny, but
it's
it's like it's just so the way that they're presenting it, like, how this is all coming out is kind of part of that, like, it's a little bit of dark humor, like, satire in
yeah,
that.
yeah, and that's what the whole movie is. It does have a lot of dark humor and dark.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's and then you have to also think about like how the administration is acting around all this. Like when all the, students are killing themselves or, they're talking about like, oh, well, the popular ones or the pretty ones and then the annoying hippie-ish teacher. I don't know what role she has, if she's an English teacher, if she just is just floating around the teacher's lounge, but she then makes everyone, like, hold hands, do this kumbaya type of thing, and just, "All right, we're"
She's exploiting it.
yeah.
Yeah, she's very
"Well, look, the news
exploitative.
cruise is here now, and
Yeah.
we're all in this." So it wasn't really because she wanted to help heal the kids, it was, "How can I have my 15 minutes of fame?"
Yeah, and, like, look what I'm doing to help with this, like, look at my part in this
Yeah.
trend, and lock your paws, the cameras are here kinda thing,
Yeah.
and she's very much just riding that same wave. So even you see even the teachers getting in on it, and it kind of brings you back to high school, and you remember what a bubble it is. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm speaking from, maybe this isn't everyone's experience, but I think probably a lot of people can relate to this, that it seems like just the whole world is made up of these elements, and they're not going to change,
Mhm.
and you're, like, stuck in it, and it just feels so present and
Yeah.
forever.
And it is, it's very heavy, and it feels very it's like this weird little, you know, group of people that you're in school with every day that you wouldn't normally interact with. And usually high schools are a couple different middle schools combined too. So here you have again people you would never have met unless now they're in your high school and there's all these different cliques and all these different social groups that you have to figure out how am I going to interact with them. And
Yeah.
yeah, you do come across like Heatherish type of people. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's difficult.
And, it's interesting because with the quote of, I've seen JD saying, "I've gone to different schools and it's all the same people," right? Like the different roles. And I think that's actually true for even generations, that
Mhm.
the generation, like, it's evolved in how we see, like, the popular people or the people that are, kind of like the outcasts, but you still have the hierarchy.
Yeah.
It's still there. I mean, like, I can't really speak to nowadays. I'm not too in the know nowadays,
You're not
maybe
in high
some.
school anymore?
Yeah, and I don't have any access to that. I don't work with high school
Yeah.
kids, like, as clients, but young adults and things like that. It sounds like it's very different, but it's very much the same.
Yeah.
And I can even remember from, I went to high school in the late 90s, when graduated in the early 2000s, and it was different than Heather's, but it was the same.
Yeah.
Maybe not as delineated, maybe not as defined, but definitely you knew who the popular kids were, you knew who the outcasts
Mhm.
were, you knew who the kids were that you made fun of, and you knew who the kids were that just kind of weren't maybe considered or were just kind of outside of that and just kind of weren't there. That would be me. And just kind of that. Yeah.
Mhm.
But it is interesting though because it still can stand the test of time, I think even
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Even though people would say like, "Oh, that's so outdated," a lot of the like you can still apply some of
Yeah.
the same
Oh, yeah, definitely.
principles
Yeah, because
there.
it is. I mean, like, it's even if it's not like, "Oh, wait, we don't say that," or "We don't talk like that," or "We don't do that," but if you take away some of the words and, different things people are doing, there's still the relationships. There's still the ostracism. It's still all there. And still also
Yeah.
the way teachers may or may not treat more of the popular people a little bit different because that's still there too.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, and it may be, in like maybe smaller communities or maybe not even, if the teachers like are friends with some of their parents or, things like that or went to school
Mhm.
with them kind of thing. That's also something or had their parents,
Yeah.
as students, I don't know. But or maybe their siblings who they disliked or liked a lot. But I think that it really is something that can like there's a lot of, there's a lot of body shaming in this. There's a lot of anti-gay rhetoric, things like that I think would totally not stand up nowadays in terms of like a movie the way that it was presented, but those now it's just kind of it's different things, but
Mhm.
it still is the same.
Yeah.
There's still a way to outcast people.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
still a way to delineate and make
Yeah,
hierarchies.
whether it's, maybe it's not, maybe people are doing it more on social media or they're finding other things to talk about people. And it's still, the hurt is still there with kids and teens. And it's, the bullying is still happening. It just might not be, and maybe it is. And maybe some instance it is just as loud and as obnoxious and as telling, but maybe they're going behind the scenes a little bit.
Yeah. I'm actually curious about that. If anybody is, aware of that, like if they're a teacher or in school themselves or have just been in school, if they have any insight to let us know how you feel like kind of different groups are outlined or how that is. Because I have heard from younger generations that it's not as defined, but I think that just means outwardly.
Yeah, I do too. I think so too. I think it's still there. I think people are, I mean, it would be wonderful if it wasn't. It would be great if there was like magic way that all cliques, all, different people just got along, but all the time. But I don't know if that happens. And unfortunately, there's still going to be some people that are left out, and there's still going to be people that manipulate people who might not have the highest self-esteem or self-worth, like JD did with Veronica.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting because we see, at the end, JD he comes over to kill Veronica, and she's
Hmm.
already came up with a plan
Yeah.
to hang herself so that he kind of can't do anything. And then he kind of in his grief is just kind of like saying his thoughts out loud and is like, oh, I had Heather Dukes like have everyone sign this
Petition.
petition that I can blow up the school.
This is what
It's
really is here. Yeah.
interesting. 'Cause it's not like he just is like, "Oh, I'm plotting to plan up the school." He wants them to agree to it. Like, in a way, it's underhanded. Obviously, they don't know. They think that
Right.
the group Big Fun is coming, but he wants them to kind of be like, "We did ourselves in." He needs
Hmm.
that.
Yeah.
That's, like, part of his thinking, or the paradigm in his
Yeah.
head.
So then also it'd be a huge thing too. So it'd be in the grand thing, like here's one whole establishment that agreed, like we messed up. We have not been doing this right. So we want to end it. And then it'd be proven JD right that all school systems or all people or all whatever it is, you know, I don't know. It's just
It helps his
yeah.
worldview
Yeah.
come into
It
play to
makes
say
him
like, "Oh."
correct.
Yeah. It probably makes his world make sense. Like, "Oh, my mom was right to have wanted to have, you know, blown herself up because,
Yeah.
if things are bad, that's what you should do. You should remove yourself
Yeah.
from it, Maybe it kind of justifies that hurt. Oh God, we are therapists,
Yeah.
so
Well, yeah, and I was just
who know
thinking
the
too, like,
psychoanalysis.
yeah, well, and if it is probably full circle too. Like, here's JD, his mom, killed himself. His dad just came back all excited. Hey, watch this video of this building blowing up, and like,
Mm,
it's almost like he's getting both. Like, okay, well, this is how my mom ended her life, and my dad is very proud when things blow up.
yeah,
My dad notices. He
that's
might not notice
fascinating
me,
to
but
him.
he notices buildings blowing up. So I'd get my dad's
Yeah, he pays
attention.
attention.
Yeah.
And then we know that JD ends up, Veronica catches him, stops the bomb. He straps it on himself, and he goes outside.
Before that, I love it when they're in the boiler room and JD, she has the gun and he's like, oh, he sticks up his middle finger and she shoots it off.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that part. Oh man, we're laughing in terms of it being a movie. Okay,
Yeah,
so
this
it's
is
just
not, yeah, this is
it's not
total
something we find
fictional.
funny.
Christian Slater still has all his fingers.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, it's just really because I think he did not expect that she would actually do it. I think he thought, like,
Yeah.
and she did, and he's like, oh, then she shoots him again and, leaves and I guess diffuses the bomb or whatever she does because he tells her what button to push. And it's just, yeah, then he comes out and, yeah, like a real crazy move. He has the whole bomb strapped to him.
Well, I think he kind of realizes. I think at that point, like, hey, it's me. I gotta they get rid of me. Like I'm the one that's
I
not,
should have been signing the
kind of.
petition. Yeah, he
I
should.
need to
Yeah,
destroy myself,
yeah.
kind of thing. There's a
Wow.
lot of like, hatred and guilt and shame and stuff, and probably just like this is probably for the
Yeah,
best. I think he maybe sees that with some of the things that Veronica does
yeah.
and says.
That's kind of deep, isn't it? Like it's so he's been trying to fix everything else, erase everything else, but he actually is the one who wanted to fix himself or have himself out of the picture.
Yeah, it's his own kind of like he has to get out of his own way,
Yeah.
in that regard. But that's really sad, obviously, but I remember being like so like, oh man, he doesn't have to like blow himself
Don't do
up.
it.
He
You're
can
so
get
cute.
therapy.
Like you're young you. Not me. I don't think Christian Slater in this movie is cute still, but I don't know. But young me did.
Yeah, oh yeah. I thought he was hot.
But I
Yeah.
loved I loved Winona is just like, okay, she just puts a cigarette in her mouth and just all right, do it. Like I'm not even going to be upset that you blow yourself up.
Yeah.
And
She
then
kind of knows that has to happen.
yeah, and then so she said she's all burnt up because she's so close to when the bomb blows up, and then she goes back into the school and just
Yeah.
takes the
Yeah, just kind of calmly is just like that's what just happened. They're all in a pep rally. They hear this bomb go off and they have no idea they were just seconds away from all being blown up.
yeah.
And yeah, and then Veronica goes and grabs the red scrunchie from Green Heather, Shannon Doherty, and she's like, Heather, my love, there's a new sheriff in town, which is kind of ominous. It's kind of, she goes and then she talks to Martha Dumbstock and, says, let's make plans for prom. So you're kind of like, is she going to yield the power? Like, is she going to say yield the power in a good way? Or is she going to end up just turning out the same?
No.
Is it kind of inevitable?
I feel like her move right away, getting that from Green Heather, and Heather's like, what? Then instantly going to find Martha, the person that everyone in the school agrees like she's the lowest on the totem pole. Now Veronica, who is now like head Heather, I guess, because she has the scrunchie, is showing everybody, for anybody listening or watching, it's okay to be kind to other people who are being bullied or might be different. That's what I think. And I think that in my head, if there were Heathers too, I would think that it would have changed a little bit.
But there's a little bit of a, like, and I don't know if this is just me thinking in line with kind of how this is, and I did see some other people kind of speculating this too, that it's not that her intention is that, but would the role, having the red scrunchie, having
With the
to be that, would
power.
that eventually kind of turn her into that anyways? Is
I
that
don't
kind of the
know.
whole point? Like, no matter what you
Yeah.
do,
Yeah, maybe
there's
it's
kinda gonna be this force that
yeah,
rules, like,
maybe, and that's kind of what
from that.
happens to people in real life too, right? Like when they're put in
Yeah,
power, different situations. Like they might be normal, they might not have ill intent, but
right. Like,
after a
they may start
while,
out really wanting to do well and I think that is the intent, but it's kind of, like, ominous because it's like, but she has that red scrunchie. She
yeah.
has that, she has that kinda I don't know, and so you kinda don't really know, and I think that's kind of a thinking point of, like,
Mhm.
is this just a thing that, in groups, is this how people are defined in high school? Is this something that's needed for boundaries, for people to find themselves? Like, there has to be kind of a hierarchy, is that kinda I don't know, I guess that's kind of thinking really beyond it,
Yeah,
but
I don't know.
that kinda always was a little bit ominous to me because I was like, "Oh, but she's still got the red scrunchie." There's still some power to
Yeah.
that. There's still some
Well, see,
symbolism
and I was
to
thinking
it.
too, maybe she just took it because she's like, I don't want you to have it. You're not. And who knows if she ever
Yeah, I think that's the intent. I think that absolutely is. It's just about what does it evolve into? What does it go into? I think she absolutely has good
Yeah.
intent of like, "Oh, let's be friends again. Let's not
Yeah.
like be worried about how we appear." But
Mhm.
how is that going to turn out?
I don't know.
Like,
Yeah, what
yeah.
maybe she just gives it to Martha.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, it could be, but I mean, thinking in realistic terms, this has continued throughout, like we just said, throughout generations, so it's not just I don't know. To me, it kind of leaves a little bit of a commentary of like, oof, this is not a happy ending necessarily,
Yeah.
but it kind of is.
Yeah.
Like it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what I see. But I definitely can see that other point of view. But I think it's like there's, you know, kind of in thinking of how it carries on into
Yeah.
into other generations and
Yeah.
stuff. But it's a great movie. It's really, again, I can't imagine unless you're a millennial, late millennial or Gen Xer that this would fully kind of like you would kind of be like, you kinda had to be there. I don't know, you kinda had to, like, kinda I don't know. I feel like it would be a
Yeah.
little bit off in watching it, but it is definitely
It
worth
is a
it.
good
I'm not
movie.
saying you
I'd
can't.
recommend it. I mean, it might be
Yeah.
some people might think like if you're younger, you might be like, "Oh, this is so cringy."
Yeah, and it is. It totally is.
Yeah, I was cringing a little bit. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I forgot." Because watching it in different lens, I mean, but I still enjoyed it. There were parts, like again, it's really fun. I find it fun rewatching movies that I watched a million times when I was younger. Which again, that's such a disturbing movie to watch over and over. But I did watch it a lot.
It is.
But because I just
That's
loved,
actually the reason why I didn't watch it again because I was like, "Oh, I just watched it, like, last year," and I was like, I can't
yeah,
watch it
yeah, it's
again."
pretty, especially because there are some parts you're like, but yeah, I mean, it's still really good.
Yeah. No, it's a classic. It really is kind of a little bit like Mean Girls, but with a darker twist,
Yeah.
for
Oh
sure,
yeah, definitely.
without a
Yeah,
doubt.
maybe it
But
is
they're
kind of
kinda
like the Gen X Mean Girls. I don't
I
know.
think it is. That's what it reminds me of, but it's also a huge commentary on a lot of different things, but it could definitely be, I think, looked at as that.
Maybe. Yeah.
But that's I mean, there's so many things, mental health-wise here, kind of how it ends. Let us know
Yeah.
what you think if you've seen it, if you wanna see it, what this, picture that we've tried to give you, what this has you thinking about. Is there anything that you would add, anything that you would want us to know? And also just if you have any suggestions for future episodes, we have some planned out for the next couple months, but we are definitely willing to, change that around or
Yeah.
add to our
Yeah,
schedule.
definitely.
We love hearing from you guys. So yeah, and our socials, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wicked Psychotherapists. On Facebook, we are the Wicked Psychotherapists. Subscribe, follow, wherever. Leave us a review. 5 stars is amazing. So, anything else to
I don't
add to
know.
that?
Do you have a question today?
Oh, that's right. I forgot about the question. Okay, so I did actually. So, if you were given the chance to have the red scrunchie, right, at um your high school or maybe in
Okay.
this fictitious Westerburg High or whatever,
Okay.
what do you think, what changes would you make, or if any?
Wow. Let
That's
me
kind
go.
of a deep
Let me go
one.
90s. So, I don't know. I guess because my high school was weird. There were definitely divide of the cliques, but I feel like there were some. Yeah, it seemed like a lot of people did get along. Like there were a lot of people I could not stand. But I don't know. I think if I would not do, I can definitely say I would not do lunchtime surveys with my red scrunchie. I would think that would be super annoying.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe get a better parking spot in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Because I used to
Yeah.
because we didn't have that, like we just had like the lot that we'd park in, but it'd still be like, juniors and seniors would park. Sometimes the juniors would park where it'd be like so annoying, like when you're older. But I don't know. I don't really know if I would do anything with my group of friends or anything like that, as far as like punishing them or making them do stuff or making other people do anything. I can't think of anything except getting a better parking spot.
I mean, would you do anything like to kind of bring people together, maybe like because I mean they're yielding their power in a
And
not so
evil.
great
Yeah,
way, and you could yield it for something good,
yeah,
or
maybe. I
something
mean,
that connects people.
that could be. I mean, maybe combine maybe more what Veronica what I'd hope she'd do, like, is to lead people together. But yeah, I think maybe that might be good to try to figure out to have people sit together in the lunchroom. That might be something, because that where it always seems like probably high school and middle school is lunch is the worst. Like
Yeah.
it's like, where do I sit? Who do I sit with? Am I going to sit on the stage? Am I going to sit here? Am I going to go outside to sit? Because we had an open campus. So it's like, where do you can sit outside, you can sit in the cafeteria, you can sit on the stage for, the cool people sit on the stage, or, certain people. So it was like so maybe like, yeah, and like not feeling like people are feeling so ostracized that they have to have like, oh, just the geeks sit at one table, or just, like it's okay if you sit at our table.
Yeah. Yeah, so maybe some sort of like lunchtime, like, hey, let's switch this up kind of thing,
Yeah.
like, and kind of get to know people. That's a good, yeah. I think, even having like I would like to think I would think of this, but I don't think I would back in high school. So this is more like older Tanya, like
Okay.
2020. Like I don't think I would have, like looking back with 2020 vision, but I think I would like to kind of have like events that would allow people to get to know other people and would have them interacting, and I don't know, maybe seeing that they might need someone who knows about computers, or
Yeah.
they might need someone who, kind of that type of thing. But I don't really know how that would be. But I would think that would be like a nice thing. That's just me thinking now. I don't think I would have thought of that in high school
Yeah.
at all.
As soon as you
But
said that, I was just thinking, oh wait, we did do that because we had keg parties. But that doesn't.
the technical knowledge always
Yeah.
always
But
came
yeah,
in handy there.
keg parties, like every group seemed to like forget, just kind of hang out at times. But I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm just.
Yeah.
But I mean, that
Well,
would be kind of neat. Like, I wonder why they don't do stuff like that. Almost like a mixer or a mixer. How old am I? But like some kind of
cocktail
social.
mixer.
Yeah, some kind of.
High school.
Yeah, like the 90s, like social club.
I think that it's not as the roles aren't as delineated. So I think like a lot of like popular kids probably have a lot of technical knowledge, right?
Yeah.
It's not like the same anymore. Like it's not like geeky to know about computers, and it's
Right.
actually kind of like a standard.
Yeah, it's
So it
mainstream.
would look different now, but
Yeah, it wasn't everybody sitting in the computer lab with a big square
yes,
apple.
the green screen and
Yeah,
yeah,
playing
oh my
Oregon
God.
Trail. Yeah.
Ugh, yeah. Well, actually, let's do a lighter question. So, if
Okay.
you were to be a part of a group, what would your color be
Oh,
and why?
I like that. Well, my favorite color is green, so I probably would choose green, but
Okay.
green or teal, I think. Green and teal are my favorite colors.
And that's like green is also very like earthy and like meditative. It doesn't just have to have like that. I think in the movie Heathers, it was kind of considered like
Envy.
green with envy,
Yeah.
kind of thing. But I think green is certainly like a calm kind of,
Yeah.
meditative, like down to earth
Yeah. And
person.
I've always been drawn to it. That, and I have like a lot of teal and green in my house too. But yeah, so that probably one of those. What about you? What would your color be?
I don't know. I mean, like, I love purple, but I don't feel like I would be a purple person. I think I don't know. I was thinking kind of green too, but like more of I just discovered so my this is a little bit of a rant, but I just discovered that my birthstone amethyst, I've always associated with purple, but there's green amethyst.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just got a pair of earrings that are green amethyst, and they're like very, very light
Mhm.
green. And I love light green and forest green, and I
Mhm.
just feel like that would be something I would really like. I don't
Yeah.
know. I would
Yeah.
kind of like to be that, I don't know, just the feel of that.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah,
Yeah,
my
so
birthstone's green too. That's weird.
yeah.
So,
I mean, mine is like traditionally purple, but
yeah.
it's like I kind of really like the green one.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe purple and green. Maybe
Yeah.
that
Those are
that
nice
would be
together
kind of,
too.
yeah. I'm being greedy and
You'll
choosing
be a
two.
priest at Advent.
My purple and green
Yeah.
garb, yeah. I guess maybe that's my destiny. I don't
Yeah,
know.
maybe you're going to become a priest, a Catholic
I
priest.
really, really doubt that. But yeah, seeing as how I still don't think they even allow female priests.
I don't know.
I
I
don't
know
know.
Episcopal does, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't even know. And I definitely was never on that path.
All right. Sorry.
Yeah. But um but yeah, so let us know what your color would be and why and what you think about the movie. But
Yeah. And
anything else?
yeah, and this will
Any other
be
comments?
no, I mean, I think we're going to be releasing this in February. So hopefully you look forward to we have a lot of good shows coming up. Like that's what Tanya was saying earlier. We have a lot. I think you guys will be excited.
Yeah, lots of good things. And probably maybe some more appearances from Winona.
Yeah,
Because
and maybe more too because we actually we're trying to find a lot more. Like just like down the wormhole. And then, so
the Winona wormhole, the Wicked Winonas.
yes, we are signing off for the wicked Winonas. Winona Judd's going to contact us and be like, "Am I part of that?"
You can be for a fee. Yeah, but Winona Ryder, she's free.
Yeah.
She gets that's
Yeah,
just,
she can.
ride or die.
I used to
Yeah.
always love all her haircuts too. She was always so cute. Like every
Oh
hairstyle
yeah,
she's had,
yeah.
she always looks good.
I remember when I was younger, like probably in my early 20s, somebody told me I looked like Winona because I have pale skin and
Yeah,
dark hair. I
yeah.
think that was the only
Same here,
connection,
'cause
and
my
I
hair
was
used to be-
so flattered.
Me
Like,
too,
I was
because
like,
I
yay!
had black hair and grown like pretty much my whole life until I started dying. Even when I died, I would for a while. But same thing. I was like, oh my gosh, that's the best person to be compared to.
Yeah, and they like, I mean, the person was kind of somebody standing by was like, "That's not a compliment." I was like, "It sure is. Yes, it
And
is."
I will always cherish it.
Yes, I will always I will cling to that. Okay. But anyways, yeah. So that's us, the Wicked Winonas. But don't forget, stay wicked.
And keep your mind well. All right. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.